Yes, everyone. Good evening to the Music Hacks. This is Michael MegahBass Fletcher in the house. Hail up to everyone. That Junior Kelly song called Clean Out, and that is my bass line. That's one of the lines that I'm going to start with to demonstrate how that was done when I did it. And I have some more to come, but right now, let me just start with this warm up. Sweet line, sweet line, sweet. Yeah. Respect Junior Kelly. These rhythms for me, trust me, it just make you feel like say, yo, listening to reggae music, understanding the culture of then with where these lines are coming from, the choice of notes to use, how you use them, how you execute them. Right? So that's what has brought me to the forefront to talk today or this evening on the music hacks about bands then and now. And talking about in terms of how these bands influenced my musical journey coming all the way up. Okay? So that was Clean Out I Do It by Junior Kelly, and that line is one of my sweet lines. Yeah. So as I said, the vibe is this. Key of G minor. Yes, that's the vibe.
Yes, sir. Fletcher.
Yeah, man.
MegahBass.
Definitely.
How are you doing this afternoon?
Well, I'm doing great, you know. It's we're here giving God thanks, living it through the corona for what it is and having to make it work and just what can I say? Just doing it with a clean heart. And that's why I started out on that vibe, just making it happen, just pure and heart and just say, giving God thanks for another day because you don't know what is for tomorrow, but I know right now I'm here on Music Hacks and I'm going to be enjoying
De-
it for the time right here. So right now, making it happen right here. Yes.
awesome. Definitely. And we would like you to feel comfortable on this platform.
Sure.
We do welcome you. It has been a long time since we have been trying to get you on this platform, and the time
Right.
is finally here. Thanks for joining us. If you're joining us for the first time, I am Chris Bailey. If you're here for the first time and you have not subscribed as yet, make sure you hit that subscribe icon. Sir Fletcher,
Yeah, man.
I know you have had a long career. A lot of persons, well, we do look up to you, including myself. All right? But there are a lot of things that I still don't know about you as a person. So, what I'm going to ask you to do is to sort of tell us a little about yourself. Who is Mikey Fletcher?
Who is Michael Fletcher? Michael Fletcher is the humble person at heart and who is here on this earth to show people the knowledge that I've gained over the years and wanting to pass it on to the next generation, not holding back nothing, because we only live once. And I'm making it known that I want to leave a mark of some sort. This is what Sir Fletcher is doing presently, and understanding that how, when I was growing up as a youngster, how these early reggae bands influenced my musical career until even where I am presently right now, which I'm still learning. They have a saying that you're too old to learn. You understand? So I'm here
All
to
right?
humbly, must say, pass on the reggae musical knowledge and to let musicians and other persons understand. Say, listen, I, Michael Washington Fletcher, born and raised, and my stage name is MegahBass, is to share and not be selfish. That's where my thing. I'm on a journey, and I must say thanks again to bringing it to the forefront and the music hacks. I'm going to make sure that I want other musicians to understand. Let us step up, Let us bring it to the forefront and share our knowledge and let it be known.
Right. All right. You said you're here to share, and I know of a fact that there are a lot of youngsters that you have molded to become great musicians, even your time at the Edna Mali and even elsewhere.
Right.
Right. How do you mentor these guys? What do you say to them?
The thing is, uh, I would basically, they would call me the street teacher, right? And when I was
The
at
street teacher.
street teacher, street, because when I was at Edna Man College, yes, it's important for them to study their degree program and the theory and all that, but at the same time, you see the part of the performance is I said, guys, listen, when you leave here, you have to be able to connect with the streets. Don't wait until you get to year four to understand. Oh, sir, this is when I want to play with a band. No, it doesn't work like that in the real world. You're going to get left behind. The vibe then at Edna was like to bring my students to the forefront to understand what it's like playing in a band. I had the knowledge and the exposure from I left School of Music in the 80s to go first of all in the early 80s to play on the North Coast like for 3-4 years learning the top 40, and then from there I said to myself I wanted to start to play with a band that is touring, and this is when I was in my 20s, and I just always had the knack that in a hotel it was a platform for me to grow, but it didn't stop there. So eventually,
Okay.
in like 87, right, 1987, I was able to do a gig with Dean Fraser. And I said, Dean, I'm playing in a hotel, but I need to start touring. I need, had this edge to go. And Dean said, you, don't worry, you, something will soon happen for you. So I said, so
Right.
I went away with Father whole long, and when I came back 3 weeks later, I got a call from Dean Fraser. So Dean said, yes,
Okay.
Fred, we need you in the 809 band. I said, what? He said, yeah, man, we need you, man. So I heard about this young bass player upcoming on the North Coast who was taking it seriously and with the approach. And that was another school. Going in there in the mid 80s was a school because 809 band to me was a school for me. It taught me a lot. Understanding.
Okay.
I thought I was playing in a hotel, but no. The discipline of like a band like 809 with the musicians of Dean Fraser, Nambo Robinson, Chico, Bopi. So Nambo and Chico are now passed and let their souls, may their souls rest in peace. Gibby, Mikey Boo was there before. When Michael Boo left to play with the Whalers, then we got Paul Castic. And then Paul and I, we formed a strong drum and bass. And we understood each other very well over the years. And then apart from that, with 809 here, I was getting to understand more about what Chalice Band was about. Chalice, a strong performance.
Okay.
I said, wow, Chalice.
So,
Yeah. Go
oh,
on.
you play with Chalice as well?
No. I was just watching Desi Jones, watching Keith, the bass player Keith, a lot, watching that band a lot, and learn how to emulate them and copy and say, I have to play with us on the level of execution, being in a band. Discipline, because
Okay.
we rehearse a lot. Light Parks, with the people, Sagittarius Band with Derek Barnett. So all of these bands I would watch. So being in a hotel and then eventually coming to 809 was something else for me. It was a joy.
Okay. See if you can put a little bit more volume on your mic.
Okay.
Some persons are saying they're not able to
Hear me?
hear your microphone.
Oh, okay. How about that?
All right.
Yeah?
Yes, should be better.
Should be better?
But how did you actually prepare yourself? I know you said that you went to the North Coast, and I can imagine that being in the North Coast
Yes.
would be another school by itself in terms of preparing you for the tour. But as a musician, as a bass player, how did you prepare for all of this?
Um, well, practicing, playing in a hotel, playing the top 40, but not only just playing for the tourists, knowing that I want to learn how to play on a bigger stage, on an international stage. practicing these lines a lot. So when I got into 809, Dean Fraser would say, "Come, youth, we're going down to Raytown." So we go down to
Oh,
Raytown a lot. So and I had to be there, hanging out with Dean Fraser, amongst just being down there, understanding the people in Raytown, the sound system, and understanding. So hold on, but you're playing like answer bass line and and all like all rock. So basically, I would listen to the sound system a lot, and I listen to the sound system. Then I come back now, do my homework, and hear who are my mentors. Robbie Shakespeare.
Robbie Shakespeare.
Robbie Shakespeare. Robbie
Oh,
Shakespeare. It does, and Aston Family Man Barrett, the Godfather, of course. And then of
right.
course, yeah. So like these bass players were so strong in their own way. It's like you can't bypass that because that's history. It's knowledge.
Right.
Here to stay. It's not going
Um,
nowhere.
so were you forced to listen to only these guys? Was it the case that these guys were the persons who were available to listen to, or there were other influences, but
Yes, there were other influences.
based on your liking,
Right. There were
why did you listen to these guys?
listening for sound and Robbie Shakespeare for attitude, for like stage presence. Robbie Shakespeare just to me on stage with Sly Dunbar just had a serious presence on stage just and then apart from Robbie, then out of the genre of reggae, I would watch like Jaco Pastorius,
Okay.
Stanley Clark, some bass players, world-renowned bass players, and Ray Brown, upright bass. And then apart from the upright bass abroad playing jazz, then it would be bring me back to getting a electronic upright bass of my own because I would be watching and listening to Lloyd Brevet, the
Okay.
Scatterlights. To me, that's where the actual story started for me. So when you listen
Right.
to how Lloyd Brevet punched the line, and and I heard that he played like, I'm just a guy. And he played that on upright bass, and I'm like, no man, you have to be strong. You have to have strong fingers to be playing that on
Right.
upright bass. So, my influences, as I say, Robbie Shakespeare, Aston Family Man Bard, um, Lloyd Brevet for sure, as bass players, and not only that, but bass players in some great bands too, because Lloyd Brevet with the Scatterlights, you know, um, Aston Family Man Barrett with the Wailers, okay, history is there, and then of course Robbie Shakespeare with Sly and Robbie.
Right.
Of course, you have other bands like Light Parks. I watch Light Parks a lot. I used to watch them
Okay.
a lot. Yeah, I respect Lighty, hail up, watch Light
Right.
Parks, and of
Right.
course Flabber Holt. Can't go. I can't leave out Flabber. Flabber, hail up.
Yes, great flower.
Big man. Yeah, man. Flabber Holt now. Flabber Holt makes his bass, as Dean Fraser would say, making bass sound like a sound system. So, like, when I watch
Yeah.
Flabber hold the bass like a gun. But rude boy attitude. Gun attitude. And guess what? It came out into his playing. Same thing with Shakespeare. The 70s bass players.
Right.
When you listen to all of those rocks to the bass lines, you hear it.
All right. So in listening all of these guys,
Yes.
you also play the upright bass, as you said.
Yes.
How did you sort of put your style together to sound like Michael Fletcher, your own distinct sound?
Well, it's a combination of bass players, and I can name them for you. Lloyd Brevet, um, Glenn Brownie, in terms of clarity, uh, Jaco Pastorius, in terms of that sound there, and Ray Brown. I used to watch a lot of Ray
Okay.
Brown. Ron Carter to a point here. But those bass players, I'd say I would listen to them all the time. And then what I would do now, I'd practice some practice the upright bass a lot, doing some patterns and then bringing that attitude now to the bass, the electric bass. Sorry, that's what I do.
Okay, cool.
It took a lot of practice, and I'm still practicing.
Right. So in the initial stage, we definitely spoke about your career has been a very long one.
Yes.
And it has been successful based on what we have seen.
Yes.
How have you maintained this longevity in your career?
Okay. One word: discipline, willing to listen, learning, and just being able to keep a balance, understanding who you're working with, how they work, how you can relate to them. Because sometimes it's even outside of music. It's just liberty. First of
Right.
all, to keep a balance, you have to have strong people around you. One thing I must say, respect a lot to how I was raised by my parents. Very strict. They were very disciplined, and I thank them a lot for that. And apart from that, no, being a family man myself with a lovely wife, two boys, my wife is my rock. She's a strength. She's the one that influenced me a lot and said, honey, you're going to go. I stay with the boys. You go. You have something to do. Go do. So it's like, it's just a balance. You understand what I'm saying? And that helps me to say, I love her dearly, and I thank her so much, and I to have a blessed wife like that. And she's my best friend.
Awesome.
She's my best
Awesome.
friend. So she always pushes me and say, honey, go for it. Like even with music hacks, go for it. Don't hold back. Do what you say you want to do. And with her, I push her too in her job and her what she wants to achieve in life. So it's a two-way road. And plus my boys too. Say, Daddy, when is next show? When you going to blah 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 stuff. Which of course some of the pictures you already have. Okay.
Cool. Yes. We will definitely be showing some of those pictures as time
Yeah.
goes by.
Yeah.
But Sir Fletcher, I have watched you performing for all of these great artists, and one thing I admire about you is your stage image. I realize from a long time you have a commanding stage image. The way you dress and even how you are looking now on Music Hacks Network, you came, prepared in your leather jacket and your gloves.
Well, listen, I made sure not to come with the trench coat this time. But can I just, just keep it, man, just keep it easy for the fans out there and for persons to understand that image sells. Image sells. It sells also with a good instrument, having a good instrument like this. And of course, my bass is behind me, as you can all see.
Yeah, man. We're going to talk about the basses next. But I want to tell us about that jacket, that signature jacket that we always see on the gloves.
Let me tell you something. This glove image started when I was in 8 or 9 and learning more as a musician coming up playing with the best musicians to me, the horn section and the rhythm section and everybody kicking. And when Paul Castic joined 809 band, and me and him grooving and we're vibe. And Castic was around the drum one day, early out when he just joined 809, because Castic, he's an earrings man. Me can't manage the earring thing. So,
okay.
Fletcher, your hand him not small, because he would wear gloves playing drums. He said, Fletcher, I said, try these, man. He said, what do you mean? Try them. So I said, all right. And I tried them and I said, oh, shoot. Hey, it works.
Take off some of pull on some of the lows of the bass.
Oh.
Yeah, man. Some persons are saying on YouTube that the bass is strong. That's a great bass. Now we're gonna talk about that bass real soon.
So,
but man. Continue with the image.
So the image thing. So Cassie Fletcher, gloves. And then when I got into the gloves now, I started to work, feel it. I said, okay. And then I grew into it and grew into it. And years of playing with 809 up to 1995, 96. When 809 kind of was like, I wouldn't say, we never actually stopped. It's just that individual members had different projects doing. So what happened was that Dean was doing some stuff, I believe, with Luciano and things, and Gibby was with Muta Baruka, and then Cassick and Birch were with Diana King at the time. So everybody in 809 had different projects doing, right? Um, but before that, we had done like reggae superfest tours with Copeland Vibes with some great artists that I'm going to talk about. And leading up to all of that of 809 playing as a very strong and signature band. When that kind of slowed down, and then I went to the UK with the Mighty Diamonds, and then I got a call from Castic, yo, Shaggy wants us. I said, what? Yeah, man, Shaggy wants
Oh,
us. Okay, all right, cool. So I come out to Jamaica. We practice close for what? 3 months for a world tour. And when we practiced after that, no, we practiced for a few weeks and we went on tour for 3 months globally, all around the world. And that was a bombastic tour. And
okay.
then we were performing all over the globe. And then we ended up in India. And in India now, um, Shaggy them, I said, boy, Fletcher, say, and the guys them said, Fletcher, what about this trench coat vibe? We said, trench, all right. So what happens? They were going to the airport and then Shaggy bought this long, hot Australian trench coat with long sleeves. The thing was so heavy. We said, but when I got back, I said, no, I like the vibe, but I want something different. So the hotel where we were staying, we they had a shop there, and they was selling a lot of jackets and everything, and anything made out of leather. So I said to the guy at the shop, I said, can I get a custom jacket made? He says, oh, anything you want, I can make for you. Tell me what you want. So I said, all right, I want a custom jacket. I want 3. He says, oh, no problem. You get them tomorrow. I said, to get them tomorrow? I says, 3 leather jackets I want, 3 trench coats. And believe it or not, Chris, he made them. And by
Okay.
the next evening, they were ready to go. And then from that, I've never left them. So the jackets are my custom signature look that I've had from that time up until now. I just added the glasses and some other things to it. And then not only that, but to add stage craft with it. Okay? Meaning so that
I,
sorry.
I'm gonna bring up the picture of you in a jacket so the viewers and subscribers can
Yeah.
see. Yeah, man, the
Yeah.
famous leather jacket.
Right. Right.
Right.
That's what I'm about. Image, stage look.
Yeah, man.
Because the thing is, it's not only the foreign bass players can do it, we can do it too with a level of confidence. Because everybody, you have some musicians in Jamaica with a look. Some need to step up. Some have a good look. Some don't have none at all. But I don't be the ones that don't have none at all because maybe that's their look. But
Right.
each of them, but right for me, I know my own look. So the thing is, I'm simple on stage. I'm simple on the road every day. But once I decide to say it is stage time, then I decide to just change the whole vibe because the reality is you're in performance mode. So I switch over to that. So that has developed from in 8 or 9. There's a latter part into Shaggy days, into where I am now. I'm bringing that to the forefront of passing it on to students for them to say, listen, image is a thing. Without it, you're not seen. Nobody knows of you. So get into that into it. Because you have some persons who go for a office job. They're better at how they look than what they do because of image. So what I'm trying to say, create a balance of
All right.
instrument and how you look on stage. Either be secular or gospel. It doesn't matter. Image sells.
Right. And I know one of the greatest part of maintain your image is that you have always tried to have some of the most exotic basses,
Ah,
all right, in your collection. So what I'm going to ask you to do is spend a minute
yes.
and then show us some of your basses and tell us a little about them.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Where do you want me to start from?
Well, how about the one that you have there now?
Okay. All right. This
All
base
right.
I got built close to 2 years ago. This is the Dwight Cunningham special, custom built for Mikey MegahBass Fletcher, and it speaks for itself. The thing about it is, Chris, I've played a Riverhead bass for years, and I bought that in 1994 in Japan when I used to do the Japan Splash. That time Japan Splash was big then, and we did with 809 Japan Splash from 1987 up until around 94. And I bought that Riverhead bass, which is this one, which has played on many hits. This bass here, this is the Riverhead original bass, right? This is my signature bass that I've had from 94 up until the present day. I just said, it's time for me, 20 odd years later, with that bass that I love so much, not departing with it, keeping it, that I need to turn over a new look of basses. And I said, I need to reinvent my sound, the way how I look, because I always used to love playing basses. But I said, no, I want something with some sparkle now. And in 2016, I was on the internet one day browsing, and I saw Donald Waugh playing a bass. And I said, no,
Great
man.
Donald War.
Great Donald Waugh. Respect Donald. Respect.
Yeah, man, he was here a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, man. Donald Waugh, man. And I said, no, man. And I said, and I made a link. And I said, Donald, that bass that you're playing, I'm looking to get some new basses in my musical career. I need to turn over a new leaf. Tell me about that bass. He said, this is a Cunningham bass. I said, Cunningham, you mean who's that? He said, this is this Jamaican youth out of Australia. He's from Jamaica but resides in Australia. I said, what's his name? He said, Dwight Cunningham. I said, I kind of heard about him. And I said, what? So he makes basses, a Jamaican? Him say, yeah, man. I said, are you sure? He said, yeah. And I got the link to Dwight, called him, we spoke, and I saw some stuff that he did. And he's a Jamaican luthier, as I said, residing in Australia. So he works out of Australia. And I said, Dwight, I need a custom built bass for MegahBass. I want to turn over. I want to create some storm now. I mean, he says, Fletcher, but you have the Riverhead all these years. But no, I'm going to make a bass that is even going to top the Riverhead. I said, we'll see about that. But I said, I don't want nothing like the Riverhead. I want something different. And we were on the internet for a couple of weeks, well, back and forth. And he came up with a design. And then I told him, say, listen, I kind of said I wanted like the green, in it and all of that. And then he says he's going to put on these individual gold bridge, these tuners here. And
All right, just turn on the volume there on the bass there, sir.
oh, turn it down? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, so,
awesome.
right. So he designed it like this, and then it is then around the back also, this is what it looks like. And it's all made by a Jamaican.
Nice.
Yes. Um,
Right.
Close to 2 years to build it.
2
Yeah.
years.
2 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Custom built for me.
Awesome.
He says, why you
Awesome.
fussy bad? He said, Mike, if like you fuss him, and as it was to the T, because I said, listen, if I'm going to represent, I've not had a new bass in like a serious bass like that in 20 or nearly 30 years. So I said, anything that you're going to build has to be to the level, and it can't be less than a Riverhead. So I didn't threaten him, but it kind of, I added some pressure. So he went all out and he put in some Nastran pickups and all of that. And of course, the rest speaks for itself. But the workmanship is top class. top class. Where I must say, with no apology, Fender and Yamaha have nothing over this guy's brand of bass. It's just that he's a brand out there. He's a one-man entity doing it. Fender has been established all these years. Yamaha, yeah. But right now, I'm here to support my own. So this is a Dwight Cunningham custom product built from Michael Fletcher. Now,
All right.
all right, I can show you the other one. Let me see which one. Which one you think, Chris? Which one you want to see? Let me go. Which one?
The small one.
Oh, the small one. Okay.
Yeah, I have that pickup now, so you can go for the smaller one.
All right. This small one was built by Anthony Bass McDonald. This is also a Jamaican luthier in Jamaica. Respect Anthony. Respect. And I said to Anthony, Anthony, by the way, built these other two basses of mine that I'm gonna show you. I said, Anthony, I want a small bass for travel. He said, what do you mean, bassy? Mr. Anthony, you built some great basses in America and some basses for some Jamaicans like Damian Bassline, Steve Locke, Joshua Jones, Dale Brown, Sly, to name a few, Carl from Livewire. And I said, no, man, I want you to make a bass for me. I'm sorry, Fletcher, I think I know what you're about. And by this time, I just got Dwight's bass, the Cunningham bass. So he built these basses for me, and I said, I want to now turn over and promote a Jamaica brand. So what I've been doing is that when he built this bass, this is like EMG settings with Aguilar and all of that. And it is a bass that is built by Anthony, and it is wrapped with the wrapping. It's an army wrapping now. So, and it's a MegahBass bass. This is actually his design, and decides he has to build a custom bass for me. And also, as you can see how he did it, look on the workmanship, top class again. You understand what I'm saying? Now, these are two luthiers that are out of Jamaica. And they know what's going on, and they're on the international level of making it happen. So that's my design. Also, this is another Anthony bass again. Look, Anthony is very creative. See, this is a fretless bass. One of his also. Yes. Okay. So this is when I'm in a fretless mode and I decide that I want to be like a Jack Pastor or one of those guys, I get crazy. Then I go there. But I like to have flexibility, Chris, to have basses for different occasions. And all.
Right.
Yes. Not just one bass, just different things. All right.
Awesome.
That's that. This one is this one now. It's another one, a modified Steinberger that he cut out the body. He cut out this for me. Right. This is what Anthony did. Anthony Bass McDonald did this. He customized this again. If you notice that all of the basses have the same wrap. Yes. And what is happening now? This bass now is dedicated to my wife and two boys. So if I can show you, this is my wife's name up here. See, my son's name there, and my other son down there. So this is for my family. So that's
Okay.
and this
And if you realize I have the pics up with you and your boys.
yeah, of course.
Right.
Yes. So this is what I am about to, just for me to have a new vibe, just turn over something new, and that's what I'm about right now. Just turning over a new leaf because especially in this COVID time, we're getting a chance that we have to reinvent. And
Right.
I was planning to do this before COVID, but COVID has just sped me now to even do it even faster and to make it known. Say, listen, boy, I don't want to get bored, but find something to do. So apart from getting these new bases made, it's just giving me a new vibe and a new look and a new outlook on my knowledge of what I have and how to move forward also.
All right. All right. I had a chance to look at your bio,
Yeah.
which you sent to me, and it has a whole list of artists that I am sure most of our viewers and subscribers would be aware of. But just to mention a few of those persons that you have actually played for.
Um, I've played for, whoa. Well,
It would have been easier to ask you who you haven't played for.
yeah. Well, I want to tell you, can I tell you something?
Yes.
Back to 809 band again. Watching Sagittarius in the 70s as a band and then from them into Chalice, watching how these bands perform, how they influenced me from then. And then when I got a chance to play with a backing band like 809 now, and I realized I had to develop some discipline. With all these artists come with 10 and 12 songs, you have to learn the repertoire, you have to get into it, and all of that stuff. I was like, wow. So the thing is, uh, it was a lot of work, but it was enjoyable work. And I know that in a modern day now, that's what is being missed. Because like, you back artists like Gregory Isaacs, Dennis Brown, Sugar Minot, Half Pint, Beres Hammond, Freddie McGregor. Just imagine having all those on one tour. And we actually did. I went on tour with basically the names I just called. And that's one of my most memorable tours ever, ever.
Yeah, I'll see it. Yes, yeah, good lesson. Yeah, man.
Um, and it was a lot of work, but it's enjoyable work where you get to play as a musician and develop your craft as a band person, right? Um, I think now that is not there. I think there and then, before, like in the 70s and the 80s, the singers that were coming up, it's like the level of hunger and how the country was running then, and even into the 80s with the bands, like which are Sagittarius back in these artists. Then we had Rhythm Kings, and it make you, and then of course Light Parks was also there, and he's still there with it, and you make you want to say, no man, well, there's a certain discipline. I call band life army life without a uniform, It's like soldier life, but it's not, you don't wear a uniform. So it forced me to develop my art and craft, musically speaking. So when I would listen to certain lines, I had to go down deep in listening to how certain lines are played. Of course, that comes along with a good instrument also. And not only that, but with the art of practicing and playing. So with that being said, I going to school of music in the 80s where I started. I was a classical guitarist first. So I
Okay.
played classical
Wow.
guitar. Yes, I played classical guitar. And I played for a couple of years up to grade 8. And then one day my teacher asked me, so now that you have your grade 8 in classical guitar, how are you going to survive in Jamaica? And that, and that was it. That's what changed my life right at School of Music there in the 80s. So then I switched over to the bass and started to get more into what's going on by learning some lines and eventually going on the North Coast playing, then from the North Coast into 809 band, from 809 band as a backing band into an artist like Shaggy, and then it just grew from there out of Shaggy, giving back to Jamaica in terms of the other young bass players coming up and sharing my knowledge and passing on. And then basically that's what I'm doing that even now, you know.
Right.
So it just got better and better and better and better. So it's like people would say, "Do you teach?" I said, "Not personally, but you go on like you're a teacher." But I said, "Well, I'm from a family of teachers, because my mother's a
All
real."
right. You mentioned Shaggy. How did you actually get the gig with Shaggy?
In 1990, in the 90s, when we were doing Japan Splash, we 809 was doing Japan Splash, and we backed him, accompanied him during that time. He had the big hit, "Oh Carolina." right? Right. He had that hit, and then he came to do some promotions, and we were the backing band. And what band could have, what better band was it? 809 band. So I think we played for him too, and then we played for Apache Indian also. Right. And then that was, I think that was 93, 92, 93, I think. And then the following year he came back, and then this time now, he came back with his band that he had in New York. But I think he just wanted a change because he realized that the aggression, how strong we were, as drum and bass, especially me and Castic, it's like he just couldn't go around it. And he was recommended that this is the drum and bass that you need. So,
Right, right. And Paul is here as well. Bless up, Paul. I know we're going to hear from him later.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. We're going to take a break from that and then watch this. Then you tell us about the Alvarose's experience.
It's all around the place. Yeah. The place. Make some noise for Mr. Mikey, MegahBass, Fletcher.
Yeah, man. That was you with Alvarose.
Right.
Rotterdam. Tell us about that now.
Right, yeah. So the management team checked me and said, that said Fletcher, he was revamping the band at that time because I believe, yeah, Dave, the drummer, had moved on and he just wanted a new sound and a new vibe. And when he called me, he says he wants me to take charge of it. And he knew that I always had that experience all these years. So this was like when I was teaching at Edna, and I decided, say, juggling between lecturing at Edna and touring with Jack Cure and Freddie going away on weekends, it was a lot of pressure. So I had to decide which platform. Is it that I'm going to stay in the classroom and forget about the touring, or get back into what it was and give up the classroom? So, like a magnet. So the stage kept on pulling me and say, "Come this side." So I just decided to get back into it. I mean, but by this time, I'd mentored a lot of students out at Eton, like Corinne Williamson on bass, who respect Corinne. I want all of Jamaica to look out for that youth. Corinne Williamson, talented, disciplined, and has it going for him. Yes. And Makiri White, Atmar Campbell, Ron Johnson, Raquel, and Mikey Allen, just to name a few. And that was Fusion Band. And then, of course, 6 Points Band. And just developing these young bands out of Edna. And I said it was time to move on and to get back on the road. So when he decided to call me, and realized that, well, I'm getting some stuff done. And I said, all right, I'm ready to do it. So, and since what, for the past 2.5 years, 3 years, I've been there. And so far, so good, and still doing what I have to do. And
Awesome.
when the band was reformatted, of course, we had a good amount of rehearsals, and it is what it is. But he knows that I'm who I am, and he's who he is, and he knows that. There's a special reason why he chose me, for me to lead his team.
Definitely. All right, Sir Fletcher, before we actually go into your presentation, all right, within the next minute, I couldn't leave this conversation without you telling me about the MegahBass brand. What is the MegahBass brand all about?
The MegahBass brand, first of all, is I want to let me be careful before I say what I want to say. All right, the MegahBass brand is about me getting my own bases out there. I want to promote some basses, MegahBass, and promote some youngsters on the basses playing, and how I want to mentor some bass players here and abroad, and mentor some bands not only here but also abroad and worldwide where reggae is concerned. So I want to bring the mega music. Mega Bass wants to bring it global, and to educate persons that our genre music is still strong, not only here, but taking it abroad also. So that's what I'm about right now, educating the musical world, and especially the young and upcoming bands that want to say they want to get mega bass here in the classroom or doing a workshop to say we need our band to be mentored by mega bass who understands about the genre, and to bring out reggae in their way of how they understand it and how they interpret it. And that's my goal, and that's my plan, and that's what mega bass is about. Still passing on the
Awesome,
knowledge,
awesome.
but not only in Jamaica but out there too.
All right. Bless up yourself, Sir MegahBass Fletcher. We have a few persons on YouTube who are here to support you, and also on Zoom. And we're going to take a minute to give a shout out to these persons.
Right.
On YouTube, we have Aldane Goodall. He was
Oh yeah.
also here. Yeah,
Yes.
man, from 6 points.
Yes, 6 points. Yes, yes. One of my past students. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, man. And Aldane is from my community
Oh, he
as
is.
well. Yeah,
Okay.
man. All
Okay.
right, we have Queen Nash. Big up yourself, Queen Nash. Guys, make sure you YouTube Queen Nash. All right, we have Sir Gawain Gibson Garnett, who gave such a great presentation on the Music Hacks Network a couple of weeks ago. We have Mr. Dennis Rushton. Bless up yourself, Sir Dennis Rushton. We have S. Ray, Juliet S. And we have Mrs. Fletcher. Your wife is definitely on YouTube
Okay.
supporting you.
Definitely. Definitely.
All right. Bless up, Mrs. Fletcher. All right. That's about it. And we have Oh Love, a person who call themselves Oh Love.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Bless up. And here on Zoom, we have Dante, we have Anthony McDonald, the bass
Ah,
luthier, the person who made those basses for Mr. Fletcher. We have Edward Reed, 5-star bass, Jermaine Biggie Francis, Juliet. We have Mikey Bennett.
ah.
Bless up yourself, Sir Mikey.
All right, sir.
And we have Roops and the great drummer Wayne Fletcher. Bless
Oh,
up yourself, guys, on YouTube and Zoom. Thanks for joining us on this another episode of the Music Hacks Network. Sir Fletcher, I have to take myself out of the picture right now and allow you to do your 15 minutes presentation. All right. Can you state the topic that you have brought to the Music Hacks Network tonight?
all right. Tonight, the topic that I'm going to be speaking about is bands then and the bands that are now. And the reason why this topic is because of how I was being influenced by growing up in Jamaica with these bands and talking about it, where the state of it is now.
Right. All right. Okay. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and subscribers, I present to you Mr. Michael MegahBass, MegahBass
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Fletcher.
All right, everybody. Yes, viewers on the Music Hacks, subscribe all, spread the word and the vibe. MegahBass is here, not going nowhere. All right, so bands then I know. In the 70s, when I came to Jamaica for the first time from the UK, I was brought up in a home in the UK, first of all, while listening to a lot of ska rocksteady. And the vibe was so good for that. My parents used to play it on a Sunday and a lot, And then by the time they decided that it's time for them to get back to Jamaica, to return home in the mid 70s, start to listen to some more like Mighty Diamonds and all of these singing groups, and into like the Sly and Robbie's them and Gregory Isaacs and all that stuff. But when what happened, that what really took hold of me is that when I was in high school, I knew what I wanted to become, and it's a musician. I always knew and I never guessed. And I said to myself, wow. So listening to, as I said, the Scatterlights and like the Wailers band, watching Aston Fan Band play, watching Light Parks play, Robbie Shakespeare play, all of these. And in the 80s now, about to graduate out of high school, here comes, I'm influenced by another band, Chalice. And I said, wow, watching Desi Jones play, watching Keith play. And I'd be marveling, and I'm like, wow, one day. But I knew that by this time I was still playing a lot of classical guitar and trombone and euphonium. But listening to these bands, you could hear that there's a certain level of hunger and taking the music serious. And a band like, say, Third World in the 70s, and watching them grow from that time. Third World, Chalice, Inner Circle, right? And when you look back, when I look back now years later, I'm like, wow, but hold on. In the 70s, well, like Third World, Inner Circle, and but they're still doing it. So wow. And then that's what, if you notice, I use the word discipline. Chalice and then Light Parks. Then from in the 90s, we had like, the latter part of the 80s, like Sagittarius band, a very strong backing band. Derek Barnett commanding the stage again with his bass, playing dancehall how it was played then. And I used to watch them a lot play, and I said, no man, there's something about bass playing that I love, and I need to approach it. And then again, artists, I think the bands then, there were a lot more shows going on, a lot more rehearsals, a lot of everything. But a lot of discipline to a point with those bands. And, that I can say, wow, I'm glad to be a part of this whole journey from then up until now. Now, if you realize what I call, so we have Scatterlights in the 60s. Then we have, as I say Light Parks and We the People, Sagittarius, Chalice, Third World, Inner Circle. And then we move into the 90s, like say, with, I left out Rhythm Kings. Sorry. I left out Rhythm
Fab
Kings.
Five, Fab Five.
Right, Fab Five also. Respect to Frankie. But there was a lot to listen to. There's a lot to learn. So, of course, I was able to carve out myself to a point in listening to all of these bands and the lower end of the band in terms of how they would play the bass, right? And then it moved up to, when we got into the 90s now, and we, of course, with the 809 band going from the latter part of the 80s that I joined now, because I'm able to bring something to the table now. And I'm saying, all right. And we had a certain amount of discipline in rehearsing and backing all of these artists to accompany them and so forth. And it takes a lot of building and endurance and things that you have to take serious. And it's not about life too. It's not just about music, Music is like 5%. Liberty, 95% is the rest of you. How you develop your art and craft to make you who you are of today. And when I look back on these bands, these are the bands that helped to develop me. The influence of these bands. And I must give thanks to, say, Inner Circle, that is still doing it. Third World, that is still doing it. And these guys are not that young. But guess what? The music is still out there doing it to a point. Now, that being said, we move up the ladder. So here we're moving out of the bands now because you have artists coming in now. So artists want some backing bands, okay? And that there's nothing wrong with that. But what when we being with 809 into Shaggy and then to still pay attention to Jamaica to see, do we have any young upcoming bands out of Jamaica? Well, from time to time, I used to go to Edna Manley College and listen. Then I hear that we have like a band called C Sharp. I say, what? C Sharp? Wow. Of course, I know the musicians, and I said, boy, great vibe. Then, of course, Raging Fire. C Sharp, Raging Fire. We have Earth Cry. And there are a couple more. But there's a gap. There's a big gap. Would one put it on like the economy strains of Jamaica, the way how you live, how you survive in Jamaica? Because that has a lot to do with it too. That the continuity from, when you see like, when I look back on all of these videos from how I see the Scatterlights, them, Light Privet, them, Light Nibs and Light Privet, everybody enjoying what they do, how they were able to live their life a certain way through their music, express themselves a lot. Is that going on today? That's a big question. And it kind of has me wondering and pondering about the younger bands of today. I'm listening, I'm trying to mentor some of them. It's not easy. It's not easy because there are a lot of influences, there are a lot of, you're trying to sustain a band, a young band out of Edna Manley College or wherever, however. It's not easy because the economy, things have changed over the years. The platform has changed. A lot of things are changing. And it's easier said than done. However, trying to stay on that path of me now, where I am in my career, it's not easy, but I'm determined and I'm going to make it happen. That's why turning over a new vibe with these instruments, what I have, and so forth. It's not just for a gimmick. It's serious business. And the business of music is what the musicians have to get into to understand what they're into now. Because the reality is that the economy in Jamaica is changing, and the bands now, I'm trying to figure the growth of our bands. It's not as strong as one time. It's trying to hold on, but it's not easy. C Sharp, not together anymore. Pentatush, not together anymore. Raging Fire, I believe, not together presently, I think. And I think the only band that is doing it is Earth Cry. Now, we have a lot of we have a couple of young artists coming up in Jamaica. I'm not talking about the young artists. I'm talking about the artists being a band. The artists being a band. So as I said, Third World, Inner Circle, Fab Five is still there. Okay, Chalice. All right. But what is happening now is that it's out of Jamaica now, where internet, social media, everything is happening abroad. There are a lot of foreign reggae bands. Sublime, Slightly Stupid, Tribal Seeds, all of these white reggae bands. And what do these bands listen to? They listen to our Jamaican music, but to me, a lot of them listen to a lot of the earlier stuff from the Rocksteady into the Bob Marley influence, and more, of course. But it just goes to show you that there's a big question sign. And it's not to say that the talent is not here. Is the discipline here to keep it going? And this is where I am wondering myself. Because, trying to mentor young bands coming up is not easy. One or two artists have asked me to put a band together for them. I've done it. Nothing hasn't happened. These musicians, unfortunately, they say, sir, what's happening? What's happening? I asked the artist, do you want a band? When you say you want a band, what do you mean? These young musicians that are coming up, nothing's not really going on. They want somewhere to go. It's not that easy. However, most of them are getting into production. That's good. I love that. But I still want to see where we can take our young upcoming bands and where they can go. As I said, Some bands get a start by playing with an artist. Some bands get a start like that. Some bands don't. Some bands actually try to take off and do it on their own. It's easier said than done. But my thing is work with an artist, and then from there you can do your thing. But I want to see more upcoming bands do it. Now the thing is, now we have some upcoming musicians out of the church. Yes, and understanding that some of these musicians leave the church, coming to play into a band that needs to go on tour. But sometimes I realize that depending on the gospel musician, he or she, sometimes is the discipline there for that. It depends. Because a lot of musicians like to play a lot of gospel chops. And you realize that our genre of reggae sometimes doesn't call for that. You have to save that and put that put that aside. Only deal with that when that is called for. Respect to gospel musicians, but sometimes we have to understand what we're doing too. Yeah. One thing, and next thing, hotel musicians. We have a good amount of hotel musicians, but on what level are these musicians? Sometimes it bothers me. I've been to 1 and 2 hotels and I hear them playing and I'm like, wow, no man. What is going on? What are they not hearing that they should be hearing? How seriously are they taking their craft? Is that a hustle now? What's happening? You know, to me, the hotel is a platform to start, come out, and then to get out there and to establish yourself. There are a couple of musicians that I know like myself, like Christopher Birch, Lenky, Kirkledove, you know, and the list goes on. These musicians that started in the hotel too, but it's just that they've carried the discipline with it. And that's why discipline of music, to me, goes a far way. Where is the discipline of the young bands these days in Jamaica? Sometimes I wonder, sometimes it sounds like it's starting out and then it dissolves. Many reasons, many factors. You know, but I'm here hoping that I can add some 2 cents in still nurturing these bands. Anyone believes that the MegahBass can do it for them and to guide them, not only here, but even bands abroad. Because the bands abroad now, I realize, are taking it to a point, but they're more flexible. You know why? Because they can go work at a Burger King, maybe a McDonald's, do this and do that, and in the evening do music. In Jamaica, it's set up differently. Now, that is, now, personally now. You know? And I just want to say that I just want to see how we can take control of it some more, where we see not only artists coming out of Jamaica, but bands, a band being an artist. And that's what I'm anxious to see, and I'm hungry to see that, a band to be the artist.
Yes, sir, Fletcher. That was a great, great, great presentation. And I'm sure you will definitely have your wish one of these days. Because I know you are a very influential person. And I know a lot of persons are definitely going to take you up on that offer.
Yes.
Great execution, sir. And I'm sure a lot of persons learned a lot from that. All right. While I was sitting there, I remember in the sound check when we were talking, myself, Jermaine, and you,
Yes.
you were going through some popular tunes that we didn't even know that you actually played
Oh,
the bass line for.
yes.
So I'm going to ask, take 2 minutes before we actually go into the Q&A. Just to tell us some of the tunes, the popular tunes that you have actually played bass on, some of those great albums.
All right. First to begin with, I think Brick by Brick by Dennis Brown. Terry Linen. Terry Linen song Your Love Is My Love. And Terry Linen song again, That's the Way It Is. The Junior Kelly song a while ago, Clean Heart. Tess and Chin, Fly High. Taras Riley, Stay With You.
Wow.
Dwayne Stevenson song, Ghetto Pain. Shaggy's song, Strength of a Woman. Um, and the list, there's a lot. I can't even remember. But, oh, and house call. All right, there it is. So, people, here it is. All right, take note of it. All right, yes. Right. So, um, this is the Dwight Cunningham custom built bass here that I'm going to be using to demonstrate some of these lines that I played over the years. Let me see. Let me see if I can draw some. Which one now?
Terry Linen.
Yes. I mean, these lines, listen, this line was played in at Mixing Lab with Christopher Birch and Paul Castick. Yeah.
All
That,
right.
yeah. So, and when we went in the studio today, and it was Red Rose who called, and Birch said, Fletcher, come in. Bring in the Riverhead bass, and we have to make it happen. Mr. What? This song here, Your Love Is My Love. Mr. Okay. So when I went in, Castick already programmed the drum track, and Birch he did the keyboards, and I went in and I plugged in the Riverhead. You know, Mr. All right, it's time to rumble. Let's rock and roll. And then when they roll off, him just goes, you understand what I'm saying? So these are the lines we're talking about. Line. When you play lines, you have to think seriously about it and the tone and the attitude of it. This one here now. Uh, this is one of my favorites. And when Dean Fraser called me in a Tough Gong, said, Fletcher, come in. You're on Kirkledove. Mr. What, Dean? I have this song, for Taurus, come and see what you guys can create for it. And this is what we came up with. Stay with you. So when I came up with that line, I sat down in the studio and Kirk started to play the drum vibe, and I think Khan was a guitarist, if I remember right, and Bowie and keys. And I said, all right, what is the line here now? I have to find a line. So when Tara started to sing, and I said, why, Dean? I'm not sure. Dean said, yeah, man, you have it, man. And I just started to follow the melody. And that's how that line came about. And that's one of my favorite lines, I must say. Yeah, so that's a Taurus Riley. There's this one that once again it was done at Tough Gong. This one here, when Dean called me, I think it was, I'm not sure, I think it was Kirk who played the drums, I think. I Sly. Let me see if I can remember. I mean, Dwayne, respect to him as always, but that yeah, so the thing is though, Chris, with all these lines I've played over the years, like you get a chance to create, and then when you do more studio work and experimenting and doing it and doing it and doing, then you you're forced to get better at it. And I love studio work. I love playing lines in the studio, and you're forced to create. So I'm always thinking melodic where the singer is going and what the singer is bringing to the forefront or bringing on the table. So that helps me to create. Certain studios like Mixing Lab, Tough Gong, Anchor, man, those studios make me create a lot. Oh yeah, as always. Those three studios, yeah man, my favorite studios. And of course, and you know which other studio is excellent? Barry's Hammond Studio. Whew, top of top.
Oh,
Oh yes,
yeah.
man. I was there yesterday.
Harmony House.
Oh, how serious as it is. Harmony House, and not only that, you see, some of my good lines also was at Scorpio, which I'm going to talk about a little later with Mikey Bennett producing some of those songs, and even
Okay.
at Penthouse too. And I'm going to see if I can come up with that now. Yes, but it's been a real pleasure, and man, it's been something else. But it's just that you have to. I believe that you have to focus, and I love what I do. It's not like it's a guess and spell. I love what I do, and as I say, still here learning and all of that stuff.
We have some more persons who join on YouTube.
Right.
We have Kalisha,
Right.
Matnami,
Oh.
Dwayne, Blijen. We have S-Ray, Don Bass,
Oh, wow.
Andre Johnson. All right, those persons joined after we gave the shout out, and we have some more persons. We have Novel Myers, who is here on Zoom now. Also, we have the other great luthier, who is here. Dwight Cunningham is also here. I don't know. Oh, he's still up. He's all the way in
Australia.
Australia.
Yes, sir.
But it's daytime there now, right?
Yes, it is. It is.
Right.
It's Friday afternoon there now, and he's away. It's Friday afternoon. Yeah.
Yes, man. All right.
Yeah. Welcome, Dwight. Welcome, man. Welcome.
All right. So let's take this last tune from you.
All right.
Search Fletcher, and then we go straight into our Q&A.
Sure, no problem. All right, this one here now, I was called to Penthouse. That time Penthouse was done at Slipen Road by Mikey Bennett. And on that session, we had Danny Brownie, Sly Dunbar, and myself, and I think it was Handel there, Handel Tucker. I'm not sure. That one is House Call, right? That's the original House Call that was done, produced by Mikey Bennett, and then after that came the remix, which is but I did not play that one. I played the and that's still one of my favorite lines today, and I played it on the synthesizer. They call it the DX100. And that was a joy, I must say. And that was still, to me, something else to talk about. Yeah, so that's one of my favorite lines. House Call. And that's the original one, by the way, by Maxi Priest.
Awesome. There you have it, viewers and subscribers. Some tunes that Mr. MegahBass has actually played on. Go and research them some more. Yes. Definitely. All right. Now at this time, we are going to move straight into our Q&A, or question and answer session.
Right.
All right. I'm sure there are a lot of persons on Zoom who have some questions that they would like to ask Mr. Fletcher, and also on YouTube. The person who on YouTube, I'm going to ask you to type your questions in the chat, and I will read them for you. The persons on Zoom, you know how we do it. I'm going to ask you to, when you're speaking, just open your microphone and your video, and then correspond with Mr. Fletcher. Once you're finished, then close your microphones and then close your videos. All right, thank you. I'm going to ask you guys, please, to just comply with that. All right, Dante had his hand up from the beginning of the show. I don't know if he had a question or not. Dante. All right. Not as yet. Anybody else with a question on Zoom? All right, let's take Gawain Gibson on YouTube. Do you still play jazz music often? That's from Garnett Gibson.
Oh, jazz, not really, but I keep myself open for different styles. Like if I have to play some background music here and there, because it's about playing, and I just keep my fingers still busy, still knowing what to play. Some of the light stuff, like breezing or Ipanema or some of that. I like doing a lot of that stuff too at times. So it just keeps me musically in the flow of things, and not out of it, but keeps me abreast with what's going on. And then I'll get a lot of those gigs through like Dean Fraser, who is very flexible who can do the studio work, come up with a creative hand part, but at the same time go and do some music wherever, however. And that's how I see myself. And that's what I've been doing also.
All right. Sir Fletcher, just switch back to the MegahBass camera for me.
Okay.
Yes, Fletcher, switch
Flow,
back, switch back.
Flow seems to be acting up.
I tell you.
All right, guys, for those who are watching the stream, we do apologize for the glitches. We do this show via Wi-Fi, and there are times when our bandwidth definitely fluctuates. All right, so we have to be doing some of these things. All right? All right, so we have a question from Jermaine Biggie Francis on Zoom.
Yes, Mr. Fletcher.
Yes, sir.
Good night to you, sir.
Good night to you.
Yeah, man. So my question to you, when you get a studio work, so you don't have no knowledge of the song and stuff like that. So how long it take you to create or come up with a bass line when you do a session like that?
Well, maybe a few minutes, but what I do is I sing the song to myself. I sing it and I say, what line can go with this song? What type of line? What type of tone with the line? And an attitude? All of these components put together. You know, but how I've practiced it over the years, I'm just gonna carry it a little bit further back to answer that question, is that I would hear something on the radio playing, and especially if it's in a transistorized format, like I can't hear the bass line any at all.
Right.
I don't know the song, I hum a bass line to it.
Okay.
And I practice like that. The longer
Okay.
I hear the bass line and I say, oh, that's the bass line that was there. Okay. But I think mine sounded better. I'm just joking, but that's how I would practice.
Okay, sir. Yeah, man.
I make sure to go. I don't want to hear it on no big sound system. I transistorize even on your phone. I can just find distance, and even up to now, I still do it. But I take that now with a pride of joy. So the studio work that I've done over the years, as I say, with Taurus, with Dwayne, with Max Caprice, and with Shaggy, I don't think about it like that. I just try to create on spot and say what would fit. And then not only that, you have to make the artist win over the way how you play your lines.
Yeah.
You have to be able to trust your judgment.
Okay.
And that goes a far way.
Okay. Yeah, but before I go, I just want to take time out to big up Music Hacks, because last night when we were doing the sound check,
Yes.
I learned so many stuff about you I couldn't even imagine if it was for the Music Hacks Network. So Chris, big up yourself and big up to the Music Hacks Network.
Oh yes, every time.
All right.
Yes, Jermaine. Bless up, man.
All right.
Bless up.
All right, sir.
All right. Anthony is saying, what's up with the you left out the dark glasses this time.
No, the thing is, sometimes we have to tone it down. Sometimes I can't give you everything. Because guess what, Anthony? I did not bring the trench. I brought a vest. So I just go easy. I just go easy with the glove. I just go easy this time.
Right.
But sometimes you have to save some of it for that big picture there. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So Fletcher,
Yes, sir.
Michael Bennett, how you do?
Ah, Sir Bennett. Ah, the big man himself.
No, I mean I was listening to your speech.
Yes, sir.
I was just wondering. I was want to point out something at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, we both share the same kind of concern about the bands and things.
Yes.
You don't think that if we had more lead singers, say coming through Edna Manley, would have more bands? Because when you think about the successful bands out of Jamaica, all of them have almost superstar lead singers.
Right.
The Bunny Ruggs was a world-class singer.
Right.
Wailers had a world-class singer. You know what I mean? So, and I feel it for the youngsters coming out of college now, because Grafton was always a second home to a lot of them.
Right, I know that.
And I realized what happened the statistics of school bands staying together is probably less than 1%, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And in a place like Jamaica, where they're coming from various situations,
Right.
different economic situation, different economic, parents spend this money and expect them to come start working now.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you don't think that I think if Edna Manley had a situation where, so they built another dorm room situation, right?
Right.
And would say to young bands, all right, it is almost prerequisite for you to stay in Kingston or stay in the same place.
Uh-huh.
If they had a dormitory, so after the guys left school, they could rent these dorm at a minimal rate for another year,
Yes.
even if the school had to act like an agent.
Yes.
But at least you could keep these guys together. Because like I say, for a band to be successful, they have to spend time as a band.
As a band. Yes.
Doing the free shows, doing the thing.
Yes.
But when kids have man and them have to be paying rent in Kingston, where we can get a little teaching job in a mob there, find a little back home.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have seen, like I say, I mean, I had high hopes for a number of the young bands coming through.
Yes.
But the reality is that, I mean, people have to go back to them church, go play, people have all this sort of thing.
Yes.
But I think the biggest thing though is that we need, I mean, bands need a wagon to hitch on to.
Yes.
So whether you're gonna be a band as an artist, so you're in school and you find a wicked lead singer and put a whole contingent together, and that lead singer. Because I mean, we're not rock guitar, we're not rock music. So the average consumer wants to connect with a singer. The whole band thing work after that. But when you hear it on the radio, that song that on the radio playing, that you need that earplay to be. What you want is a voice that we can connect with. And like I said, the great bands of our time had that singer. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
No, I agree with you. I just think also on that note, I've seen a lot of singers, a couple of singers come through the college, but I think, not that I think that the college is lacking a lot of stuff in that area. You've been there to assist and to help. A lot of the lecturers at Edna Manley don't understand. They've never toured. It has passed them. They're classroom teachers, you know, and apart from Ibo and Stewie, but those two can't do it alone. And if it's not there to assist them, what is it? I mean, we have a lot of them that I saw some of the students. There's one student there that I went to them and I said, this one here, we need to put a trail behind him and send him in the Caribbean to take over from Alexander.
Okay.
That's how serious I was with the thing. There was another one that, to me, we should have sent her to Juilliard School of Music to continue. But when you're telling me that, no, she's not there with it, I mean, like, really? We can't get a scholarship or something? So,
but we could ask the same question what the person asked you when you go Juilliard and you finish. How you make a living off the music?
Definitely.
What I'm saying is that Edna Manley needs to reach a stage where they're attracted. It's like how when a producer have a big hot rhythm, every singer want a piece of the rhythm and want that experience in a studio. Edna Manley need to be projecting themselves. I remember there's a picture that was taken one of these festivals, and there were over 20 students from Edna Manley in the picture. Wow. And I said, what a perfect poster for Edna Manley. I mean, these are guys in Europe working, you know. In other words, all of them working, past and present student. Right. And I sent it to one of the PR people. I said, here's your next poster. I mean, if it wasn't for the church, well, Edna Manley is supported a lot by the church community, as we know. In other words, a lot of the young things that coming out at church, because this is the need for this added music and added expertise. But I think Edna Manley failing, pretty much like all the other institutions, is that we have not legitimized a reggae artist as a destination. So it was set up a tertiary education, hoping that the people would go back to teach or whatever they want to do. But there has not been a thing to say, okay, here is who we can have an average singer, and here's a program to turn you into a good singer, a good singer into a great singer.
Right.
So until we get that,
Yeah, until
we get to that point, in other words, we're gonna have the situation. Because the reality about our situation with the bands, like you compare them to America, some of the bands I thought, I just see them on the road and them started off. But in America, you can take a bus, you can rent a van,
you can do
and
that.
go and build up your you just tour around your state and move on without no airplane ticket and no big show. And you just build up your thing.
Yes.
A lot of Jamaicans guys can't afford to do that. Because I mean, you owe school student loan and this and some of baby. So,
Right.
so there's a reality check.
Yeah, man, definitely. Definitely.
But like I want Sabas, I want big you up. One of the things you mentioned about what your longevity, and I think it's professionalism. That is my thing.
Yes.
And I want to tell the audience, I remember one of the things that one of my fondest memories of your Fletcher is one man you called me and said, we were calling for a session, and he said, what should I bring? Should it be the 5-string fretless, the 4-string, that string, that? And we laugh. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I know Fletcher from before was talking Patwa. So it's done time. But you could see, you came into the studio hungry, and you were there before everybody else. And you just had this thing that you're a joy to work with. I mean, we understand that boy probably never come with the hardcoreness that some people had, but it was refreshing when you were there because you're just soaking up the thing, man. You're adding your little musical flavor. And I've seen you grown over the years, and I mean, when I see you on a bandstand, I just relax because I know that everything well rehearsed. You know, like just like a Derek Barnett, there's no hitching. Desert Jones, no hitching.
Right.
So the three are probably the 3 best band leaders I've ever seen. So and you can see artists have that confidence. I mean, just like how them love rough cut, dancehall man love rough cut because drumming know every rhythm. Drumming even telling people them how them rhythm go. So Jamaica, I was fortunate to have you, and it was my pleasure to have worked with you and to create one of the biggest songs out of come out of the 90s.
The house call rhythm there, Michael.
Yeah, man. Well, it went on to something bigger, and
but it started
off a lot of careers and made a lot of people have money.
Yeah.
So give thanks, my brethren.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
All right, bless up, Sir Mikey.
Yeah,
man. Give thanks to the program, boys. I've watched a couple of times. I never say nothing, but I've I watch daily.
All right, sir.
All right.
Yeah, man. We appreciate you. All right. One of these days we'll definitely see you.
I'm just a phone call away still, you know.
All right. Now that you say that.
All right.
You hear me, sir?
It will be my pleasure. Man.
All right.
All right, bro. All right.
Cool.
All right, Mr. Fletcher, this one is going to be a surprise. This one is from your wife.
Oh.
Mrs. Fletcher is asking, how do you prepare yourself before a stage performance?
Good question. Thank you, honey. How do I prepare myself? I prepare myself as if I'm going on the stage for the first time. I always tell myself, it's like, you see, like how Michael Jordan would approach his basketball. Michael Jordan says he can't do it by himself. It would be like Pippen and Rodman. To me, it's a team. Band is a team. So I'm leading the team. I said, guys, let's go. Let's get in tune on stage. Let's. From we hit off the intro, we're there. And even with that attitude from Shaggy Norn, I brought it over to Alberosa Camp. It's the same attitude with the musicians there. Say that from the intro start, gentlemen, get in gear. Let's find it. So the thing is now, when I play, musicianship is like a vibration. So the reality is, if I don't represent for the crowd to see me and feel me, then why am I up there? What's the purpose? So the reality is, before I go on stage, I tell myself, say, this is another show that I'm going to do. It's going to come, it's going to go, and then I'm going to get myself ready for the next one. But I'm always like, tell myself, say, with a little adrenaline rush, just a little bit. If there's no more adrenaline rush, then it's time to go. That's the harsh reality. Once it's there, I keep the fire alive, but I always tell myself, say, I'm getting ready.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Bless up Grizzle, Craig Grizzle.
BC
BC.
man. Mr.
All
Grism.
right. And we have Gregory Young joining us on YouTube, Tariq Foster, and Horace Mason. Bless up, guys. Bless up. All right, let's take this question from Dwayne Bligen. He says, you mentioned in your presentation that the bands in Jamaica are slowly dying out. What would you recommend to stem this issue?
Good question. It has to start, as Mikey Bennett said a while ago, with an incentive of singer. We have to have like a singer first. Now, it always starts with something, a buzz of something. If there's a singer, like sitting down on a roadside or somewhere, or in with a set of musicians, something can start, but how can it continue? Nobody will ever know. It's not written in stone, but I would encourage to say, well, if you're young, like in your 20s, and you think you want to go for it, try it. But it comes with a lot of responsibility, a lot of weight. And especially if you're at home and your parents are looking after you, or if you're looking after yourself, you have to be doing some small gigs here and there. It's at the end of the day, it's a raw gamble. In my time in the 80s and 90s, gigs were there. Now it's different now. It's a lot of diversion. And it's not that we don't have the musicians, we do, but there's, like as one would say, there's not enough work. So some musicians turn to production. You know, we have civil servant musicians, like 9 to 5 musicians. But for me now to encourage it, why is to come together, rehearse, put a demo together, and let's see where we can take it, where we can shop it. But as Mikey Bennett was saying, it's easier to do it in the US than here. In America, you can jump on a bus and go here, there. In Jamaica, it's not that easy in terms of the economic structure right now. The challenges are on, but it's just that we have to live through them. So there's not any given one answer of how I think it should go. It's how can it go at the time. Is there anything in the way to stop the band from being formed? 4 of you can form a band: bass, drum, guitar, keyboard, and then we have a lead singer. All right. They have a saying that a chain is as strong as its weakest link. The band might be going on good in rehearsal, but guess what? Boy drummer say, boy, him can't come to rehearsal today because him sister him have to do something for him mother, or him sister or friend, or him have to go to work or something. There's always something there that might stop it. So these are the challenges that you're going to face. It's a struggle, but it's a level of determination and hunger. So it comes with a lot of burden and pain, but boy, musical pain is a hell of a thing. It just depends on how you see it and how much are you willing to go with it and take it. But at the end of the day, the struggle is left to you because, as I was saying, the struggle is real and it's musically real.
Awesome. All right. Let's take this one from Andre Johnson. What's the difference between learning jazz and reggae and jazz music? What's the difference between learning reggae and jazz music?
Well, jazz genre, reggae genre, boy, learn everything. Listen. First of all, I have a motto: is listen, interpret, execute. That's what I would teach my students. Listen, and once you listen to it, then you interpret it. Once it's interpreted properly, then you execute it to play it back. Reggae music is broad. Jazz is broad. Jazz has a lot of runs you have to do, melodies you have to listen to, like reggae too, like classical music too. It just depends what you want. But they're there independently, that they stand on their own. But my take on it is though, is to listen everything. Don't take nothing for granted. Listen as much jazz as you can play. Listen on, if you're a bass player, listen all of those jazz bass lines, upright bass lines, listen to some of the Jaco Pastoral stuff. Just listen. And at the same time, you say, all right, give yourself a break, switch over now and listen to some reggae. Listen to where it's coming from because there's a history. Listen to some of the light rivet lines like this. Like that's jazz, but in a scare way because light rivet would walk. Right? So you have to remember that even when the Scatterlights were about in the 60s, they were listening to a lot of big jazz bands in America. So here comes Live Rivet with the upright bass now, and it just automatically they get something out of it called ska. So it just depends on you really, you know. But it's there to listen to. There's a lot of history there. But though for me, listen to a lot of ska. You can get into ska bass lines, which is sort of jazz oriented still, how Live River came up with them. And then from there, so now with the tone of that and the vibe, you can switch and go into some reggae. But listen, man, the key thing is listening. Never stop listening. Just open your mind to it.
All right, Sir Fletcher, we're just gonna take about 2 more questions because I realize this internet is acting up. All right.
Yes. Sorry.
So we have a question from Novell Myers. Mr. Fletcher, you have been in the music business for years, and you still have high standards
Yes.
and demand in the business. What makes you a bass player that stands out on top of all the situations that you actually face each day?
Well, positivity is a hell of a thing. And what I do is live my life on a daily basis, giving God thanks that it's another day, you know, and what happens today? It was yesterday, today's another day, there's another one tomorrow. No one knows what is ahead of tomorrow, but I know what is today, so I live it for the moment. And practice becomes perfect, either be good or bad. But for my thing, be optimistic. Let's always make it good. So the discipline, as I said, of staying with it, practicing, um, you know, being with a band that has brought a certain level of discipline from the hotel, as I said, into 809, into the Shaggy, into where I am now, what I'm doing, and still mentoring. It's still just been trying to be a notch above the rest. And that's why I tell myself, I'm not musically better than nobody. There are a lot of bass players who can run rings around me. Yeah. But I tell myself so that I'm put on this earth for a purpose. And I know what I have to do and what I will always continue to do. And that bass players who are much younger than me want to learn. Why not make them learn? And I want them to get the knowledge. And where I'm going with it is that I'm trying to, well, not now, I'm doing is raising the bar, not only doing it in Jamaica, but working eventually with reggae bands abroad. No matter what color, white, Indian, blue, black, yellow, whatever it is, just working with kind of reggae music even wider with these bands that doing production with them and all of that. But my thing is trying to just be a notch above everything that is happening at the moment, trying to, with image, my playing, the type of instruments that I've always had over the years, and just try to be relevant. That's one. Two, stage discipline, reaching to your gig on time. When you're on stage, perform like your life depends on it. Like that's why my wife just asked a question. She's still marvels at like I'm performing like it's the first time because she sees me like, well, I'm going to the studio. I need to be there on time. I need to do what I have to do. Um, I'm just be current about it. You know, as I said, that we're all faced with a lot of challenges, but it's that I try to make it to be. That's what pushes me. That's what drives me. You know. And as I said, I have a very strong family. My wife, as I said, my kids. They're always this is that's my driving engine right there. You understand what I'm saying? And it's just key thing when I see other kids around, other people that want to learn the art, that want to go forward. You can't do it. One hand can't clap. So me, a level of discipline and staying with it and being serious about it. I don't take it for no joke. So when I go on stage and how I perform on stage to a point, I'm not the biggest dancer on stage. No, I like to swing my bass left, right. Yeah. You know, them more, you know, them bones, yeah, try to make it go. But the thing is though, it's just that I want to create a definition that at least even out of 1,000 people, at least there's one person that I can reach to in the audience, even one. If you can't reach to one, something is wrong. You need to go and think about what you're doing. So at any given moment in time, I don't take nothing for granted. I don't take nothing. Persons around me, no. Work is work, and when I'm there, I apply myself to it.
Awesome. All right, now we're going to take our final question for the night, and this one is suitable because it's based on the topic that you presented tonight. So we will end with that. This question comes from Aldane Goodall.
Yes.
He's saying, what is the process to forming the different bands? Or what do you look for?
Well, all right. Forming a different band. First of all, I'm looking on a group of what? 5 musicians, 6 musicians, and I look on them. You look on the temperament. You look on how they move together, how they relate. Because music is like 5%. 95% is living with each other after that. Talking about daily life, living. Music is in the corner, you know. We have to all get on first as a family before music, because you can be the best musician, but we can't play together because we're not getting on. This emotions and the spiritual vibe is not there. So what I look for a musician is hunger, eagerness, discipline. I want to go forward, want to push. And then when you're able to have that, then you look for it. Everybody has it in their own way. You know, and it's also spiritual, you know, because if you don't have nothing with that in you, then something wrong. But we all have to vibrate and connect on stage. So for instance, a young musician, a young singer, especially a young singer, it's always good to form a band around a singer. But the singer being a part of the band. I'm not saying a band backing a singer now. I'm talking about the band being an artist. But there are a couple of things to look for. As I say, um, it just depends. Like Coffee. There was a band there with Coffee before she went to perform abroad with the other band. We call them the Composers. They brought something to the table. When I looked on those guys, I was like, okay, yeah, these guys are serious. Yeah. And I was watching Coffee, but at the same time, I was watching the band now. I'm like, wow, there's a level of discipline, there's a level of know-how, a level of execution of them coming across, playing the stuff for Coffee. And I'm saying, that's what I need to see in our Jamaican musicians. You understand what I'm saying? Um, it can be, it can surface, you know, but it's just going to take some time, you know. But I think it's just a hunger of persons coming together. But a lot of it depends, as Mikey Bennett said earlier on, the economic structure of you having to go home, play for church, work back in the country, do this, do that. So it depends on you. I'm willing to work with any band right now to a point, but the thing that I cannot manage is 4 of you, and then one has to go here, one has to go there, one has to go that. That doesn't make any sense. Until there's a unit that can find his or herself steady in getting something done together, coming together, then we'll all know, you know. But there's a lot of work to be done. as I said, there's not any given one answer, really, Alden. There's not any given one answer. I'm still willing to work with some upcoming bands here, and I want to go abroad with it too, and work with the foreign bands also, and bring reggae there to a different level, you know. But, you know, it's just a thing of how we can start it here as compared to doing it there. Yeah.
Sir Fletcher, Sir MegahBass, this was a great show.
Yes.
And I would definitely like to extend thanks to you on the behalf of the Music Hacks Network. You know of the challenges that we have been having
Yes.
up to this live stream, but we made it happen.
Yeah.
And let me say that I do respect you, sir, for all the efforts that you are putting into this network. Sometimes I think that you are doing even more work than myself in terms of promotion.
Can I tell you something though, Chris? You have a great network.
Yes, sir.
You have a great network, and this network, a lot more musicians need to come on board.
Yes,
I
I do agree.
a lot more musicians. I want to see them come on board, because this is social media time now. It's marketing time now. Take it into the streets, musicians. Let's go. You know, let's not
Yes,
hold-
sir.
be prepared. And I credit Chris Bailey now for doing what he's doing. It's not easy for him, but we have to support him. And on that, I'm going to make sure that he gets a lot of support from my end of it, because this is a great show. And the thing is, education goes a far way, and we can learn a lot of things through music hacks. Because where I want to go with it also, Chris has a great show here where we all can get to communicate. I myself, eventually, I'm going to open a bass talk. And when I have a bass talk, it's going to be called Bass Jamaica.
Awesome idea.
Right. And that bass talk, Chris Bailey, I'm going to interview you on that bass talk. Yes. Like a lot
All right.
Bailey, it's a bass player.
All right. All
And-
right, sir.
The world needs to know. So you see this bass talk here now, this is what is gonna happen with the bass talk. I'm going to interview a couple of bass players well here and eventually abroad. And this is
Right.
regular players, you know, that play, like I think the bass player for Gentleman, the bass player for Sublime, the bass player for Revolution, all of these bass players, a lot of bass players that are reggae, even some reggae bass players from Brazil, South America side, big up. We have a lot of bass players around the world, you know. A whole heap
Yeah,
of-
man, so we have wire inside the chat room here. I'm not saying nothing.
Okay.
Wire.
Why? Okay.
Blessings.
Live wire, that's car.
Yeah, man.
Bless up wire.
Blessings.
All
I
right.
want to personally big up Mr. Fletcher. I'm a friend, a great person, a great teacher, an awesome person. Brother, I want to apologize for
Yeah.
not getting back to you.
Yes.
I was having a little family difficulty with the police, and I tried to sort it out and up and down, back and forth to lawyer, to police station, and I this evening everything finally sorted out. 4 days. So, we're there, man. I have to salute the great, you know. I respect Mr. Fletcher every time, man. And to the host.
All right, sir, wire.
Yeah, man, and the music have great movements, man. Great movements.
All right, sir. Looking forward to see your presentation soon.
Oh, no,
All right.
He's coming on, you know. No, he's one of them out of 10 that I've chosen. Carl,
All right.
Fire. No, he's going to make it live. He's going to make it live. Yes.
Yes, man.
Talk about, yes. So Carl is whining that he's going to come on Bass Jamaica when the other target. Yeah, he's going to come on, of course.
Yes, man. You know, you always have my support, you know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Support, and more support. Much love and
All right.
blessings, you know. Blessings.
All right. All right, guys, we have to leave. Bless up all the persons on YouTube. You know, all we ask in support of this show is just for you to click that subscribe icon, and that's all. All right, that is all we ask for the persons who are viewing. All right, we have a lot of persons who are viewing, but they don't subscribe. I'm going to ask you guys, please, if you view and you don't want to subscribe, please change that mentality. All right, we're trying to build this program for all of us as musicians. All right, so guys, take care, and I will definitely